Once upon a time, in a peaceful village far, far away, there lived an old man named Tar. He wasn't rich, nor did he own a vast farm like many others in the village. But what he lacked in wealth, he made up for with love and happiness. His family was his greatest treasure. His beautiful wife and their 3 children, 2 strong sons and a lovely daughter. They were not the wealthiest, but they had something far more precious, a home filled with warmth, laughter, and unbreakable bonds. Tar was a hard-working farmer, but since he had no land of his own, he toiled away on the farms of others. Day after day, under the scorching sun, he would work tirelessly, making sure his family never went to bed hungry. His wife, a kind and determined woman, worked as a trader in the market. Every morning, she would prepare her fresh vegetables and fruits with a bright smile, setting off to the marketplace, ready to sell her goods and support their humble household. Despite their struggles, their home was filled with love. In the evenings, after long hours of exhausting labor, Tar would return home, tired but content. The moment he stepped through the door, his wife welcomed him with a warm meal, and his children rushed to embrace him. They would all sit together, share stories, and fill their little home with joyous laughter. Though they had little, they never let their hardships define their happiness. To them, true wealth was not measured in coins, but in love, unity, and the simple moments they cherished together. Tar had many friends in the village, but over time, something became painfully clear. His friends were all wealthier than him, and that began to change the way they treated him. At first, they would still talk and laugh with him, but slowly, they started to distance themselves. The wealthier they became, the more they avoided Tar, as if his poverty was something to be ashamed of. It hurt him deeply, but he always reassured himself, "My family is what matters most. Their love is worth more than all the riches in the world." One day, the village held a grand gathering. Hoping to reconnect with his old friends, Tar decided to attend. When he arrived, he saw his friends eating, drinking, and laughing together. At first, they greeted him warmly, making him feel welcome, and he thought that perhaps nothing had changed. They invited him to sit with them and enjoy the feast, and for a moment, Tar felt happy. But that happiness was short-lived. As soon as they finished eating, one of his friends suddenly stood up and said with a smirk, "Tar, since you are not as rich as us, you should collect the plates and clean up." Tar was stunned. His heart pounded in disbelief. "What? We are all friends, and I am older than most of you. Just because I don't have as much money doesn't mean you can treat me like a servant," he protested, his voice filled with both anger and sadness. But instead of understanding, they laughed. "If you don't pack the plates, we will tell the owner of the feast that you haven't paid, and that will be even more embarrassing for you." Tar felt his throat tighten. He had no choice. Humiliated, he quietly picked up the plates and cleaned up, while his so-called friends continued to mock him. After finishing, he walked home slowly, feeling a deep sorrow in his heart. Was friendship only about money? Had they never truly valued him? When he reached home, his wife immediately noticed something was wrong. She looked at him with concern and gently asked, "Tar, what happened? Why do you look so sad?" Tar sighed, his heart heavy. "My friends treated me poorly today, because I am not as rich as them. But it doesn't matter. I will always work hard for you and our children. That is what truly matters to me." His wife hugged him tightly. "You are a good man, Tar, and that is worth more than all the riches in the world," she said, comforting him. Despite the unfairness of life, Tar refused to give up. He continued working hard, taking care of his family and holding on to his dignity. But things were not easy. The farm owners often delayed his payments, telling him to come back tomorrow, Tar, only to make him wait even longer. Some of his wealthier so-called friends took advantage of him, asking him to do degrading tasks like washing their clothes or cleaning their houses for little to no pay. One day, Tar was desperate. His children were hungry, and he had no money left. Swallowing his pride, he asked a wealthy friend for a small loan to buy food. But instead of helping him out of kindness, The friend laughed and said, "If you want money, clean my house and wash my clothes first." Tar clenched his fists, his face burning with humiliation. But he had no choice. He spent the entire day scrubbing and washing, exhausting himself completely. And after all his effort, the friend handed him only a small amount of money, far less than what he deserved. Yet, Tar took it without complaint. This was only the beginning. More was yet to come. With a respectful nod, T thanked the old man and stepped out of the dense forest, his heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and unease. As he neared his home, the warm glow of lanterns flickered through the windows, and the distant laughter of his children reached his ears. His family was waiting for him. The moment he stepped inside, his wife and children rushed to his side, their eyes widening in astonishment as he revealed the small pouch filled with gold coins. "T, is this real?" his wife whispered, holding up one of the coins, its golden surface gleaming in the dim light. "Yes," T confirmed, wrapping his arms tightly around his family. "The gods have blessed us." A wave of relief washed over him. The difficult choice he had made, the dark path he had ventured down, would finally bring his loved ones the happiness and security they had long been denied. That night, they celebrated with unrestrained joy and boundless hope, believing that their struggles had come to an end. But fate is never so simple. The true cost of T's decision had yet to reveal itself. In the days that followed the mysterious ritual, T's life transformed in ways he had never imagined. Wealth poured into his home like an unstoppable river, filling every corner with luxury beyond his wildest dreams. Their once humble dwelling was now adorned with fine fabrics, intricate ornaments, and treasures fit for nobility. Gold coins were no longer a rarity in their household. They became an everyday presence. The village, once indifferent to T's existence, now buzzed with gossip about his sudden fortune. How did T become so rich overnight? Villagers whispered amongst themselves. Some speculated that he had stumbled upon a long-lost treasure, while others insisted the gods themselves had chosen to reward him. Even those who had once turned their backs on him, friends who had abandoned him in his lowest moments, suddenly returned, eager to bask in the glow of his newfound success. They showered him with praise, invited him to grand feasts, and spoke of him with a reverence they had never shown before. But T, though grateful for his change in fortune, was not so quick to forget the way they had treated him when he had nothing. At home, his family rejoiced. His children, once dressed in tattered clothes, now wore the finest garments. Their table, which had often been bare, was now overflowing with food. His wife, while happy to see their struggles come to an end, could not shake a lingering unease. One evening, as they sat together in their newly furnished home, she turned to him and spoke softly. "T, I am grateful for all that we now have, but I cannot ignore this feeling. How did it happen so quickly? Where did all this wealth come from?" T took her hand in his gaze steady. "The gods have rewarded us, my love. They have seen our suffering and blessed us for our patience. I made a promise to them, and they have honored it. You have nothing to fear." His wife sighed, but the doubt in her eyes remained. "I trust you, T, but please be careful. Great wealth often comes with great danger." T nodded, offering her a reassuring smile. "I will always protect our family. This is our time to enjoy the blessings we've been given." As the weeks passed, T's wealth only grew. He purchased land, expanded his farm, and acquired more livestock. His success seemed unstoppable, and the villagers' curiosity intensified. Yet, no matter how many questions were asked, T kept the truth of his fortune locked away. His wife, however, remained watchful. She noticed the way he would grow quiet when he thought no one was looking, how his once carefree laughter now carried an edge of something deeper, something heavier. She knew he loved them dearly, but she also knew that whatever had brought them this fortune was a burden he carried alone. For now, the family lived in prosperity, and the village continued to marvel at T's transformation. But no one, Not even T himself could foresee the price he would soon have to pay. As T's riches multiplied, so did the number of people eager to be near him. Friends who had once ridiculed him in his days of poverty now arrived at his doorstep, their arms filled with gifts and their voices dripping with admiration. One afternoon, as T lounged in his grand new home, a group of his former friends arrived, their smiles wide and their words full of flattery. "Old friend," one of them exclaimed, clapping him on the back. "We are so proud of you. You have achieved so much in such a short time. Tell us, what is your secret? How did you become so rich?" T forced a polite smile, though unease curled in his chest. He knew that revealing the truth would only invite disaster. "I have been blessed by the gods," he answered simply. "They saw my hard work and rewarded me." His friends exchanged knowing glances, unconvinced. One leaned in closer. "Come now, T. We are your friends. You can trust us. There must be more to it than that." T remained composed. "That is the only truth. The gods have been kind to me. There is nothing more to say." But they did not give up so easily. Day after day they visited him, their words dripping with false admiration, their curiosity growing more insistent. They tried flattery, bribes, and even promises of shared fortune. "T, imagine what we could do together," one of them suggested. "If you tell us your secret, we could all be wealthy and powerful beyond measure." But T refused. His wealth was not something that could be shared. It was bound to a dark ritual, a pact that he alone had made. To involve anyone else would be to drag them into the same abyss. "I appreciate your kindness," he said, his voice firm, "but this is not something I can give." Over time, their persistence waned and frustration set in. The whispers began. Suspicion grew. Soon, the same people who had once begged for his favor now gossiped behind his back, questioning the true nature of his riches. T felt the weight of their judgment, the growing isolation. Despite his vast fortune, he found himself longing for the days before it had all begun, the days when life, though harsh, had been simple and honest. At home, his wife saw the worry in his eyes. One evening, as they sat together, she reached for his hand. "T, what is troubling you?" she asked gently. "I can see it. You carry a burden you will not share." T sighed deeply. "It is our friends," he admitted. "They will not stop asking about our wealth. They do not believe it is simply the God's blessing. I cannot tell them the truth, but their questions never end." His wife squeezed his hand. "Let them talk," she said softly. "We have each other. That is what matters most."